Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I thought we'd do something a bit different and we do a bit of a Q&A style video. I noticed that a lot of you guys who follow me on Instagram have been sending me a lot of questions. I've been receiving a lot of questions over email as well, and why not just dive into those questions today and just answer all the things that you guys want to know. Looking over all your questions right now, it seems like most of them have to do with spirituality, so I'm ready. Let's go into those topics. And let's start with the first question. The first question says, what are your religious beliefs? Do you believe in God? I don't subscribe to any organized religion. I don't believe in anything that is related to a church or a temple or any sort of physical establishment. I do practice a Mexican healing tradition. It's called curanderismo. In the spiritual tradition, we tend to work with a number of deities, saints, gods, goddesses, spirits. There is a mixture of Catholicism thrown in there, full Catholicism due to colonialism. But I wouldn't say it's a religion, but it's a healing tradition that uses the divinity to heal. I want to make a full video on this topic because I think it deserves a proper video. But I do have a connection with spirit. I do have a connection with something above me, something higher than me. And I do believe in a creator. I don't believe in God as a bearded, white-robed person living in the clouds. I don't believe in the creator being a man either. I don't think it's a man or a woman. But for me, what makes the most sense is that the creator is an energy source. It's an intelligent, massive, complex thing, for lack of a better term. It's this massive source of energy and intelligence from which we all came from. It's this source of energy that powers everything in the universe. And as much as we want to and as much as we try, we can't really comprehend it. It's way too difficult, way too complex for humans to wrap their brains around. But I do believe that between the creator and the human race, there are messengers and intermediates. You know, we have angels, we have saints, we have deities, gods, goddesses, spirits that kind of serve as messengers. And through these entities, we can become closer to the creator. Overall, that's the general gist. That's the general idea of what I believe. I do want to make a video where I go deeper into my beliefs, but for now, that's just a general idea of what I believe. Next question says, I noticed that you do healing work. How do you help your clients and what modalities do you use? And that's a great question because my main philosophy when it comes to healing work, emotional healing, is that negative emotions are there for a reason. Whether it's anxiety, whether it's anger, whether it's shame, jealousy, these negative emotions are coming up to try to tell us something, to try to get us to do something, to try to make a change happen in our lives. But the problem is that most times we tend to ignore these feelings. We just don't want to be bombarded by the discomfort of these emotions. We distract ourselves, we numb them away, we use substances, we avoid them, and then we're just prolonging our suffering. So in my healing work, when I'm working with clients, I try to get them into a place where they can accept their negative emotions, where they can communicate with them, try to see what's underneath the surface of that discomfort that the emotion is bringing. And by receiving the message and putting it into practice, the negative emotion, in theory, will not have to come up as often. It's something that's a pillar to my practice and a pillar to my healing work. It's that philosophy. Negative emotions are great once we listen to them. They're indicators that something needs our attention. In sessions with my clients, I tend to guide them to try to tap into their internal guidance system, not have to rely on an outside force, not even myself. I'm a temporary guide in these sessions with my clients. While I'm engaging in a dialogue, counseling, and helping my clients through whatever they're struggling with, I also connect to their energy field. And as we're talking, I'm clearing things away, I'm removing things, I'm kind of rearranging things energetically. And the main purpose of that is to let the energy flow more freely through their body. And when the energy is flowing more freely, the emotions become easier to express, easier to release, and to remove the weight and burden on our shoulders. It actually facilitates the healing process. In session, I also noticed that it's very common for my clients' spirit guides, ancestors to come through and start to relay messages to me. So if the client is open to it and if they're open and receptive to hearing the messages, I share what they're saying to me and tell them the information that's coming through. You know, on top of that, I do have training in acceptance commitment therapy, and we use tools from that modality in our sessions. I use different forms of holistic practices, different forms of energy medicine, but for the most part, it's going back to that main pillar that I mentioned earlier, and my abilities and the things that I sense and that I see through the third eye. But if you're ever curious to see how a session works and if a session with me resonates with you or is a fit for you, don't hesitate to check out the link in my description. Book a call with me and we can see if we're a fit and if my work will help you achieving your goals. This next question says, what inspired you to help people? So that's another good question. I feel like this is a two-part answer. The first part is that when I was a little kid, as far back as I can remember, when I was 2, 3 years old, like I've been able to perceive the non-physical. My mom always tells stories to friends and to different relatives about how I was such a weird little kid. Weird in the sense that I was highly intuitive, according to her. She said that I could see things that most people could not when I was a little kid, or that I could perceive the presence of non-physical presences, for lack of a better word. So we used to live in a house back when I was 2 or 3 years old, and supposedly this house was haunted. The TV would turn on and on by itself. Things would move by themselves. People would hear voices. There would be strange occurrences going on, and all these apparitions, and all sorts of things would happen in this house. And my mother noticed that in this house, I was picking up on these things more than anyone else, apparently. So she never shamed me or discouraged me from developing these abilities. In fact, my household was a very encouraging environment. It was a place where I was never told to stop feeling these things or practicing these things, and it was something that was encouraged to develop. So this was something that I've had all my life, and throughout the years as I was growing up, I met different mentors. I met different people that taught me how to refine my abilities and use them as a tool and not something that burdens me. It's thankfully I was able to cross paths with a number of healers and highly sensitive individuals, and they all helped me in their own ways. But that seems to be the backbone of my practice, like those abilities that I have naturally, and the fact that I can see things and perceive things, and that I'm extrasensory. These are the things that I rely on for my healing work. The other part of this situation is that when I was roughly 12 or so, things took a pretty dark turn in my household and in my family. So I went through periods of deep depression. We're talking debilitating depression, self-harm, self-mutilation, suicidal thoughts. It's sad to say that I even attempted suicide at one point. Didn't work, obviously. Still here, and it's just like it was a really dark time in my life where I didn't see any hope for the future. In fact, I remember being 18 and not planning for the future, or not really taking my future seriously, because in my head I didn't really see myself surviving or living past 23 or 24. Like, it was that dark, and there was a lot of self-destruction that went into that period in my life. It lasted until my early 20s. I experienced deeply debilitating panic attacks. Just like I would say, like, a lot of things that a lot of people are struggling with right now, I've been through it. It's just like those were dark times, and those were times where the only solution that I thought was available was death. But miraculously, I was able to pull myself out of that dark place and start to heal and properly heal. So it's a longer story than that. This is the Reader's Digest of it all, but now fast forward to my 30s, where I don't know who that person was. It's like we're talking about two different people right now, and just like the way that I was before and the way that I am now. I In my practice, I just don't want anyone to go through that and not have any help and not have any support. I feel like we're all connected energetically. We are all aspects of each other. We're all interconnected in some way. Why would I not want to help someone? Why wouldn't I want to do my part and heal and help heal others? This is one of the reasons why I do the work that I do. It's on an energetic level, and whenever I look at the world through my energetic sights, this is what it looks like. All of you are interconnected. We're all interconnected. So why would I not want to help and do my part? So this is what inspires me to do the work that I do. And aside from my past and aside from what I've been through, it's a job that I really I wake up excited to do. I wake up really like happy to start my day. It's never a chore. It never feels like I'm doing work. It's a really fulfilling work. It's a really recharging type of work, and it's just something that brings me a lot of joy every single day that I work with all of you, all my clients. So the next question says, where are you from and where are you located? So I grew up in Southern Arizona. I grew up in a small town in Southern Arizona. Over time, my family started to move upwards to one of the major cities, Tucson. Right now, most of my family's in Tucson. But at 18, I moved out and I moved to LA. I lived in LA for roughly 3 or 4 years. And then I came to where I am now. I came to Argentina back in 2010. So in 2010, I came here with the plan to teach English for 6 months, maybe a year tops. What ended up happening is that I stayed here 5 years. So I ended up staying here 5 years. And then I took some time to hop around some of the neighboring countries. I lived in other places here in South America. But eventually I ended up coming back to Argentina. And I've been here for a total of 11 years so far. So this is my home. Like I don't see myself moving. I don't see myself going anywhere anytime soon. But I'm here, and it's a place that if you haven't visited, I would highly recommend to come and feel what it's like to be here. It's a very stimulating city. It's a very interesting pace of life. You're never bored in Buenos Aires. It's a very it's a really highly charged city. So next question. What are your thoughts on the law of attraction? So, first off, I'm not completely qualified or familiar with the ins and outs of the law of attraction. In fact, I don't really practice a lot of New Age spirituality, but one thing that I've heard about the law of attraction is just about the way that you think and how it manifests in your physical reality. Again, I don't know the details or the exact ins and outs of the law of attraction, but I do believe that whatever you put your focus on consistently will eventually line you up to it. And a lot of my ritual work, it's directing energy towards a certain goal so that you can become closer to it, or you can arrive closer to achieving that goal. It doesn't mean that we have to just sit back and wait. It doesn't mean that we don't do anything. Like we have to take action afterwards, but it's like making the distance between you and the goal much shorter, which is something that I practice. Maybe it's similar to the law of attraction. I'm not sure, but I do believe in that, and I do think that there is some truth to that. But again, I'm not an expert. I don't practice law of attraction, but that's my take. All right, this next question, I really like this question, by the way. This is what I'm talking about right here. So it says, I want to get deeper into spiritism and mediumship work. How can I go about doing that? Also, can you give me some tips on developing my mediumship skills? Okay, so first off, I would recommend 2 books. I would recommend The Spirits book and the book on mediums by Allan Kardec. And these books will give you a foundation. It'll give you a bit of insight into what mediumship is all about, what spirits are doing out there, and why they're talking to us, or why they're working with the living. It's just like a simple manual to know what you're getting into and what this really means to be a spiritist or a medium. So about these books, though, I do wanna kind of clarify that there is a lot of talk about prayer, about the Lord, about Christ, about Jesus, and I don't want this to deter anyone. If you're not Catholic or Christian, I would say take what serves, let go of what doesn't, because these books were written many years ago when Spiritism and mediumship were tied to Christianity, and I think maybe it was done to avoid persecution, or maybe it was done to make it seem like it's a positive path and not something demonic, perhaps. That's just my take here. But these are great books. In fact, anything by Allan Kardec is a good starting point. When it comes to mediumship development, it's a process. It's something that takes its time, but I can give you one tip. I can give you a really effective tip that one of my mentors gave me when I was refining my mediumship skills. But what you should do is try to make it a practice, maybe minimum 3 times a week, to sit in meditation, to sit in silence for a few minutes. Take out a pen and paper, a notebook and pen, have it next to you, and sit down comfortably or lay down comfortably and try to do the following breathing exercise. This is an exercise to put you into a receptive state, into a trance state. And through this state, you're going to be more receptive to receiving messages from your guides or ancestors. So what you're going to do is you're going to breathe in for a full 6 seconds through your nose. You're fully breathing in and expanding your lungs. So a full 6 seconds in through your nose, and then exhaling at your mouth for another count of 6. What's important to do here when you're exhaling is try to, on the exhale, imagine yourself falling. So try to visualize yourself bungee jumping, or maybe in a dropping elevator, maybe falling off a cliff or throwing yourself off a balcony. It sounds extreme, but like you want to get that visual of yourself, of you falling. You want to actually feel it in some sense. So as you're breathing and visualizing this, you'll notice that maybe after 2 minutes, maybe after 3 minutes, you'll begin to feel different. So you might feel like the room has gotten more quiet all of a sudden, or maybe like as if your head is inside a box. Like it's a strange sensation to describe, but you'll know when it's happening. So you might feel also like a heaviness to your body. You might even feel like your body's a little bit numb. You might feel tingles, and you just feel like an overall shift, like all of a sudden a greater sense of relaxation and heaviness, and just something will feel different, and you'll know. When you get to that place, congratulations, because you just entered the trance state. This is the state where your brain waves have slowed down. When your brain is in that state, when your mind is in that state, you're able to connect to the non-physical. You're able to be more receptive without so much of your personal interference getting in the way. So when you're in the states, you can state in your mind, ancestors, spirit guides, I'm here, I'm ready to listen. Do you have any messages for me? Do you want to introduce yourselves to me? Just general questions. And with your pen and paper on the side, pay attention to how your hand feels. Try to see if maybe your hand feels like it's being moved in a certain direction, or maybe you just naturally feel that you should write a certain letter or do a certain shape. Like you'll just, for whatever reason, you'll feel the need to do something or write something. Either that, or you might notice random thoughts filling your mind, or random visuals filling your mind. You might notice maybe sentences coming up in your mind automatically. I want to highlight here that these aren't words or sentences that you're making or that you're thinking up. It's just automatic information that's coming through. So if it's either that or what's happening to your hand, go with it. Or maybe it's both. But be receptive to this and try to just write down what's coming through, or allow what's coming through to be written down. It takes a bit of practice, and it's a step-by-step thing that takes a while to develop, but in a few months you should see something come through. You should see information that makes sense and that brings something of clarity to you. So you can start there as a starting point. Make sure also that when you're doing this meditation, that you have some form of energetic protection, whether that's hematite stone or a black tourmaline stone or obsidian. Like, carry that with you, have it on you during this meditation, just as an overall form of energetic protection. So I do offer one-on-one mentoring sessions for mediumship development. If you're interested, check out the website in my description, and let's talk over a session and see what we can do and where we can take your abilities right now. All right, next question. Do you read tarot cards? Yes, I do, actually. I offer that as well as one of my services, but the thing about my practice when it comes to tarot is that when I read tarot for a client, it's not a reading telling you what's going to happen. It's not a set in stone message. Whatever the tarot tells us is more like a message telling you, hey, the current energy that you're in right now is probably going to bring this in a few weeks or months. Do you want that to happen? And if the answer is no, the tarot can tell us what to do to have a different outcome. So my readings are never the future set in stone. It's always the possible future and whether you want that future or not. It's a great thing to highlight here is that we all have free will, and there is nothing that must happen, that should happen. We have control over our destiny. We have control over where we're going in life. So think of my tarot readings as just like a GPS app when you're on the freeway and it's telling you, hey, there's an accident coming up. Do you want to avoid it or do you want to keep going straight? And you can choose to go to the next exit and go around it, or you can choose to just go and wait it out. It's all up to you and your free will. But these are this is my style when it comes to the tarot. Yes. So good question, by the way. I really like that one. The next question I have is any tips on how to do energy healing? Okay. So energy healing it's a tough subject because there's so many different modalities out there. There's Reiki, there's Kios, there's Pranic, there's all these different ways of healing. And if you're looking for a more structured form or structured way, do some research, try to see which modality works best for you. If that's not your path, or if that's not what you want to do, like, it's good to acknowledge that we don't need a certification to do energy healing. Like, it's something that we have in us always. Energy healing can be as simple as connecting to that source energy, the energy of the creator, and visualizing it going into our crown chakra and then down into the heart center and out our arms and out the hands. With enough practice, you can actually start to feel that energy flowing through you, and you can set an intention when the energy's coming out of your hands and collecting right in front of you. So it can get more complex and it can get more detailed as you go along, but that's a very simple way to start. Just channel that energy through you and out your hands and set an intention. The intention can be in present tense. You could say something like, it's my intention to clear away this physical pain. It's my intention to clear away this blockage in this energy center. And then direct that energy into the place that you want it to go. That's one step forward. This is a loaded question because there's so much detail and there's so much to do with this topic. So again, it's just it's not difficult to connect to an energy source. It's not difficult to set an intention. It's not difficult to direct it somewhere, but it is a bit more challenging when we're dealing with clients, or when we're dealing with other people that we're performing this energy work on, or even on ourselves. There's so much that can come up in a session. So I would recommend to find a mentor if you can, or do some reading. It's just experiment, do a little bit of work on yourself and see what works. But I would say let's not work on other people unless we've got a full understanding of energy healing, or unless we know what we're doing. Again, this is one of the services that I provide. If you're interested in developing these skills and honing these skills, let's talk about it, because I can teach you a few things and guide you through the process of working with energy. Okay, so The next question is, are you into astrology? What is your sun, moon, and rising? So, okay. That's another thing. Like, I'm not an expert in astrology. I don't really focus on planets and things like that in my spiritual work. If anything, I do work with the sun and moon, but that's it. Like, my spirituality is very focused on the earth and what's here with us. My best friend, though, she's an astrologer, and she did my chart. And if this helps any of you out there, I'll share those signs with you. But sun sign is Sagittarius, ascendant rising is in Leo, and moon in Libra. Whatever that means, I'll leave it up to you guys that know more about astrology to figure it out. But that's me right there. And then okay, and then final question. This is a very random question, but it says, "What kind of music do you listen to?" So, if you would look at my Spotify account, it would be the most random, chaotic thing. Like I have everywhere from industrial music to metal to 80s dark wave to hip hop and rap and maybe like a random pop song here and there. I also listen to Spanish rock, Argentinian rock. Some it's a mishmash of things. Like, but basically, if you're interested in what I'm listening to right now, it's basically a little bit of this. So it's chaotic. It's a lot of different things and a lot of randomness, but I think it's important to have a really colorful and eclectic taste in music. It's just, why not have music that expresses all of your emotions or all of your moods? It's nothing wrong with that. I think it makes it a more interesting, you know, like when you have a playlist, like make it interesting, make it exciting, make it spicy. I don't know, but like when I'm at the gym and I have my music on, it's the most random thing. Like it can go from really intense, really high energy music to very calm, very soothing music, but it's all over the place. It's all over the place. But that's a great question, by the way. It seems like these are all the questions I got. I hope that these questions helped you guys and that it gave you more clarity. But keep the questions coming. My DMs are open. You can reach me at Instagram or directly through my email. Everything is on the description below. And I really like these conversations because it allows you guys to see what I'm about and get to know me, and like hopefully it gives you a greater insight into who I am. But I would encourage you guys to give me a like and follow at Awakened Inner Flame. Check out my personal website in the description below, and if you want to book a session, if you'd like to work with me, we'll get that sorted and meet up for our first session. Again, thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned for another video coming up later this week on a very common question that I've received in my DMs on social media. All right. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and take care.